Good morning, everyone, or soon to be afternoon, I guess. Welcome to our virtual Lunch and Learn today. We're so glad that you're taking time out of your Friday to learn a little bit more about Tulsa Area United Way. And to get us started, we're going to watch a video that really grounds us in the why of our organization. So we're going to go to the next slide and cue that up. And then after that video is over, we're going to hear from Brent Sadler, our Chief Community Investments Officer.
Hi, my name is Anita. I had relocated into this country from Ghana, West Africa, to join my husband. After a few months of settling down, it was time for me to find a job. I was so confused. I was so overwhelmed by my new environment. It was then that a friend introduced Goodwill to me as a place where you learn hand-on skills to help remove barriers to job opportunities. It came as no surprise when I secured myself a job, and I can boldly say I am now financially independent.
Hello, I'm Nancy Abercrombie.
And I'm John. Our experiences before with the Social Security Administration have not been very smooth. Mark Lober sent us to Live Senior Services to walk us through the Medicare prescription drug plan. We were able to take our prescription drug list in there, and she showed us different options and helped us save about $4,000 by choosing the right plan.
Whether it's having a case manager help them navigate medical needs, applying for benefits, the work that Life does is completely enwrapped with its United Way support and the investment of donors, and we're very grateful.
What we do is we are an employment agency. We want to help people get back to work or get to work by offering employment at Goodwill Industries as a whole or offering training programs to help people get back to work.
Working families must know that their children are safe and well cared for in order to continue to hold down their jobs, support their families. The dollars that the United Way donates to Crosstown help support our infant program as well as our toddler and preschool programs. Thank you for living united.
Thank you for changing my life and putting a huge impact in my life, and I want to say God bless United Way and God bless Goodwill.
Thank you.
Thank you for living united.
Thank you for living united.
Thank you for living united.
All right, well, good morning, and we appreciate you taking the time to be with us today and learn a little bit more about the Tulsa Area United Way. We're going to speak to the investments that we make, the way that we raise dollars within the community, and the volunteer opportunities. And at the end, I know many of you on the call are aware of what we do. I think that you'll learn a little bit something new or something different about what goes on at Tulsa Area United Way. And if this is the first time that you're learning, our goal is to have you engaged with us in many different ways in our community going forward. So again, welcome and thank you for being with us here today. Just very quickly, our mission and visions and values, the vision of Tulsa Area United Way, visioning a community, working together to ensure that all its members flourish and thrive, and that we unite people and resources to improve lives and strengthen our communities. You can see the other 5 values that we work and live by. I'd like to highlight the third one in particular, as serving as exceptional stewards of community resources. Before coming to the United Way, I was a volunteer for about 8 or 9 years. And the thing that I love the most about the United Way is that this is a community organization. It's the community dollars that help drive the organization, and it is community members that are making those investments back into our community. And so our job at the United Way is to be stewards of these processes, and it's a fantastic job, and really love doing this with our community. We're going to talk a little bit now as we go forward about some of the investments, and that's my role, the great opportunity that I have at the Tulsa Area United Way with a fantastic staff to be able to help be those stewards and help deliver that information to the community. But we make investments and help impact the community in 4 major ways. I'll start with the top right in social innovations, and we'll hear more about each of these in just a moment. Creating a social safety net. And when we think about the United Way, this is what we think about the most, our partner agencies. And the lion's share of the investment goes back to our partner agencies in the community to help create this safety net for individuals and citizens within our communities. We also invest in community collaborations, and you'll hear a little bit more about what that looks like in a few moments. And then crisis response. And certainly this last year, no one needs any reminder with our COVID as we're still moving through that. But the United Way, working with different organizations, Tulsa Community Foundation, one in particular with COVID response funds, one of the first dollars out the door within a couple of weeks of mid-March last year in helping with basic needs and food security, rent and utility payments within our community. But the year before, it's flood response, and the year before, when schools were closed, how do we keep kids fed when so many of our children, really primary source of food security comes from our school systems, and we help make a crisis response during that time as well. So your community dollars at work as we look at what we can do and impact things across the board. But we'll start by talking a little bit about the social safety net. And again, this is the partner agency that most folks are really familiar with. We have 59 partner agencies, and they help serve our community from everything from prenatal care all the way to hospice care and things in between. 59 partner agencies, but within those agencies, we actually make investments in 147 different programs. So for instance, a YMCA may have 6 different programs. They may have 8 programs that they actually have. The United Way may invest in 6 of those. So 59 partners is a lot in 147 programs. That's how we help make up this portfolio of safety net within our community. Again, these organizations are those that are providing direct services to those folks in our community that find themselves potentially in need. And also youth development programs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Campfire, those types of youth services functions within our community. So many different organizations across the board. We do this work, like I mentioned before, with community volunteers. And this process alone, we help mobilize 170 different volunteers. It takes over 5,000 hours of time from January to June to be able to process and look at the applications, to look at the work that takes place. Like I said, the communities are the ones that make these evaluations on an annual basis, and it goes through a number of checks and balances so that we make sure that we are leveraging the community dollar in a very positive way, making sure that the organizations that have been provided funding in the previous year are using those dollars in a positive and responsible way. Last year and this year, we had to move everything to a virtual platform, just like many businesses and those on the call. Can't say enough about our staff and our community in the way that they have come together and used the virtual platforms to be able to help make these decisions and keep this cycle moving for Tulsa and for our surrounding counties and communities. And to speak a little bit about that, we've asked Roni Gadawala to speak. Roni is a leader, a panel leader for us, has volunteered with United Way for a number of years. And he's going to speak to us here in just a moment about his experience. And he's the Chief Information Officer at AON. And Roni, I'll turn it over to you for a moment.
Thank you, Brent, for the introduction and for inviting me here to share my experience. Hi, everyone. Like Brent mentioned, I'm Roni Gadawala. I serve as the Chief Information Officer here at AON. I've been volunteering with the Community Investment Panel for since 2018. I've been co-leading the one of the panels here for the last 2 years. I was introduced to the Community Investment Panel volunteer opportunity through a email that went out at our work calling for volunteers. And at Aon, we do spend a lot of volunteer hours with United Way, and we raise funding just like a lot of good companies here in town. And I really wanted to know what was United Way doing with our the money that we were raising, and how is it affecting our community. And so the Community Investment Panel allows me to do just that. There's a way for me to understand, how investments or funds raised within our community are then provided to these agencies. So, when I first registered for the event, I really did not know what to expect. But when as right after the registration, I got an invite for, I got an invite to have a introductory session, and they walked me through the whole process, including the most daunting task of actually going through the financials, how to read balance sheets, and how to understand an agency's application. And so in short, you don't have to be an expert at reading balance sheets. You do not have to be an expert at understanding the financials. They'll walk you through the whole process. So you don't have to wait to know all this in order to volunteer. I think volunteering is the first step. And then, my experience has been wonderful. For the last 4 years, I've been on the same panel, pretty much the same agency. So you get to learn more about it every year. You get to understand their executive team, the staff there. You get to do panel visits. Even during the pandemic, we did virtual panel visits. So we were getting really good at it, even through Zoom. But of course, the in-person meetings are absolutely fun. You get to see the communities you serve, and you get to see some of the challenges that they face. So it's the ups and downs, the things that don't work, the needs that they have, and you get to understand the value of what United Way brings to our community. I would also say that it challenges you to volunteer more. In fact, it was good to see the video in the introduction video with Crosstown there, because I serve on that on the board for Crosstown, and it is a wonderful experience to see how you see both sides of how a United Way agency works internally, and how the United Way funds those agencies. So I would say from my experience, it's been wonderful, and I would recommend that to anybody who would like to contribute. That's all I had. If you guys have any questions, I'm here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. We appreciate you so much for being part of our community and to serving on our panels. Ronnie works with one of 16 panels, and there's 2 co-leaders for each one of these panels. There's 8 to 10 members on each one of these panels, and that's how we get up to 170 different volunteers. One of the things we hear often is why United Way, and from why to invest in United Way. And I think that one of the things that you just heard was really important. This is the community and experts looking at financials of these organizations, looking at the outcomes of these organizations, and making sure that the accountability component is there. And so it's a bit of from an oversight perspective, but it's a way that we can become involved in our community to learn more and to understand and make sure that the community's dollar is going in a great place. And the organizations that we have with Tulsa Area United Way are extremely accountable, and really appreciate the work that they put into the applications, and then the community members that help evaluate that on an annual basis. All right, that's social safety net. We'll move and we'll speak a little bit to our collaboration investments. And we have 8 collaboration investments that we make. And the way that I describe this is that not only do we want to serve folks that need that direct assistance within our community, but we also want to work towards solving systemic issues within our community. And we have 8 investments that we make with organizations that are more along the lines of a backbone agency. So they may not actually have a direct service, but they are coordinating activities with other organizations to create measurable outcomes and respond to the systemic issues within our community. So one of those that I'll bring forward and highlight is A Way Home for Tulsa, which is a program within an organization called Housing Solutions. And Housing Solutions helps navigate and helps bring together the collective power of about 27 different organizations in our community that are all working towards solving for homelessness in our community. And we want to make investments in these backbone agencies that are helping with those collaborations, as well as those that are direct service for folks on a daily basis. So again, 8 different collaborations within our community. And I think we may have, Lexi, we'll go on to the next one. Do we have a video on that?
When you donate to Tulsa Area United Way, your gift is maximized to make the biggest impact. Not only are you providing funding for 59 established partner agencies to meet the needs of people across our community, you are making it possible for nonprofits, municipalities, and local organizations to collaborate to address complex community problems like homelessness, hunger, education, and the safety of children and families. Let's talk more about these community collaborations, what they do, and how your money is making a difference. Tulsa Area United Way currently invests more than $900,000 a year in 8 community collaborations. Housing Solutions, a collective effort of more than 20 nonprofit organizations, foundations, and local governments working to end chronic homelessness and providing housing for those living on the streets. Hunger Free Oklahoma, a unified partnership amongst the state and numerous nonprofit and community partners with a goal to ensure all Oklahomans have access to affordable, nutritious food. Safe Babies Court, which brings together the courts and child welfare agencies to expedite healing services for young victims of abuse, neglect, and poverty. Amplify equips the community with strategies to reduce teen pregnancy and improve the health and economic well-being for all. City Year, a partnership that brings AmeriCorps members into local schools to support teachers and connect students to the resources they need to stay on track and accelerate their academic growth. Impact Tulsa brings together school districts and other educational partners to gather, analyze, and utilize data as a flashlight to guide decisions and ensure students have access to the resources they need to succeed. Tulsa Regional STEM Alliance, a backbone organization that facilitates and coordinates innovative science, technology, engineering, and math experiences and pathways for all students to increase access to high-impact career opportunities. And the Community Response Team, a collaboration of mental health professionals and law enforcement agencies to help people in crisis and divert them from jail or emergency rooms. So how did these collaborations work? A couple of years ago, mental health-related calls to 911 were utilizing significant police and fire department resources. Through a collaboration grant, the Community Response Team was born. This groundbreaking program provides an integrated response to 911 calls through a 3-member team that includes Tulsa Police, Fire Department, and a mental health provider from COPES with Family and Children's Services. This approach frees up the first responders and helps provide the necessary services and referrals to the person in need, resulting in decreased suicide rates, increased public safety, and optimizes our limited community resources. As you can see, community needs can't always be addressed by one organization alone. By coming together and leveraging each other's strengths, these partnerships create positive change.
All right. So I'd like to add just a little bit to the last one that you saw from CRT. Just within the last 10 days or so, the that collaboration originally started out with 2 days a week with police, fire, and mental health COPES unit. It then went to 3 days a week, and then about 10 days ago, the mayor has put that into the budget to move that to 5 days a week, and we've had outstanding response from the police chief about this work. And that was born out of collaboration and born out of United Way investing in this. So that's just another example of the way that we work within the community to bring these things forward. A third way that we make investment is with innovation grants. And we're always looking for ways to create a startup or creating leading edge response to a community challenge. Anyone in the community, doesn't have to be a partner agency with the Tulsa Area United Way, can push forward. These are annual grants, and we're looking to incubate new ideas within our community with these innovation grants. They're one-year grants. They're not necessarily going to be sustained beyond, but we want to see that new idea. We want to see that that startup thing within our community. And we've had great success with that. So let's watch a little quick snippet on innovation grants.
The City of Tulsa 911 Mental Health Collaborative is a partnership with Family and Children's Services, COPES, and the Tulsa Police Department.
We have a mental health clinician embedded at the 911 dispatching center, and they are watching for calls that seem to have something to do with mental health distress.
The dispatchers are very excited to have a licensed mental health professional inside the building. They are able to help them determine whether or not the situation requires a law enforcement to respond or a licensed mental health professional. I am really excited to be a part of this program. It's vital to helping those in the community.
It's helping somebody's daughter, somebody's brother. Tulsa Area United Way is helping us to be available for people. And it's really difficult because thanks doesn't seem to be enough.
I'm not sure there's enough words to express our gratitude. The partnership with 911 and Family and Children's Services, it just reinforces the support that we are here to give to the community. And that's something that they need and deserve.
That's just, this one in particular is just, to me, is incredible. And to have that mental health embedded in our 911 system, to be able to take those calls, there's so many calls that come in that are mental health related, and to be able to triage that and to be able to get some of that to fruition right off the bat is incredible. And that doesn't happen in very many places across the country, but it happens here in Tulsa. And then when you couple that with what you saw before on a collaboration grant with community response team, being able to be in the community to help make sure that those individuals that may be experiencing mental health episode in our community can get the treatment the right way and get to the right place, up front in the call or on the street. It's fantastic work. We couldn't be more proud of all the work that goes on in that area. This year, 2021, these next two slides you're going to see, these are going to have a medical health related focus to each of these this year. So we won't go through each one of these, but you can see here the different organizations that are representative and a few of the programs that they are focused on. Go to the next one. There we go. All right. Okay, and then lastly, we want to speak a little bit more about community involvement that happens in our community investments group, where we work with others and professional development within our community. One of our main goals today is to get you involved, and we want you to be a part of our community investment panels. And so just reach out to United Way, contact me directly, and we will we can get you set up to like Ronnie, working with our community investments in one of those panels. You'll have other opportunities here in a few minutes as well to be involved with United Way directly. One of the other things that we work on in the last 7 years is what we call Next Tulsa. This is really to look at how do we keep the talented folks in our community into our next set of nonprofit leaders. And this has been a program, like I said, over the last 7 years, a monthly program for a leadership development type program for our nonprofit community. And then lastly, our New Voices. And New Voices is based to recruit and embed diverse representatives for our local nonprofit boards. We need to hear more voices, diverse voices in our community to serve on our boards and be a part of our community. So we do this through Leadership Tulsa, but it's a Tulsa Area United Way program called New Voices that takes place. So those are a few things that we do from a community involvement standpoint and an investment. Again, please reach out to me, reach out to the United Way to understand more and more and how to get involved and in understanding how investments are made. I appreciate your time and the opportunity to share a little bit about our investments. Now I will send this to Cynthia Qualls, our Chief Resource Development Officer, to speak a little bit about our fundraising and how we get those dollars to make investments within our community. Cynthia.
Thanks, Brent. Appreciate all that you do and for the good presentation this morning. I think of the community investments as the heart of what we do. And if that's the heart of what we do, then the resource development fundraising side is the muscle and how we get there, as Brent said. So I'm going to spend just a few minutes talking to you about how the campaign is structured, how it works. And again, my primary job, if you'll go to that next slide, is to really say thank you. We would not be able to do any of the work. You heard Brent say 170 volunteers. We have 40 members on a campaign cabinet. We have thousands of people that work on the campaign each year. And of course, the many, many donors. So thank you so much for being involved in the United Way and for your time today to come learn more about it. We were able to raise just a little over $24 million last year. I'm pleased to say that the campaign continued after Unite and we continued to raise some funds, but we were in the pandemic, in the challenge, in all of the uncertainty, this community, as it always does, stepped up for us to raise $24 million. And Brent and his team put it to good use, and we're excited about the things that we were able to do. But of course, need doesn't go away. Things change and we do make improvements, but that need's still here. So of course, we're going to continue. So if we'll go to that next slide, I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about campaign by the numbers. You might imagine that I'm a numbers person. Do a little bit of fundraising around here, and numbers are important. So here are a few numbers that I want you to remember today. And there might be a pop quiz with prize in the future. So be listening for these, and we'll see about that quiz at the end. So 850 million, 830, 96, 40, 23,600, 1,675. You're going to hear a little bit about each of these numbers as I go through the presentation. So let's jump in and tell you a little bit about the fundraising in the United Way. Next slide, please. So this talks about how the campaign is structured. We were established in 1924, and that's important and hard to believe, but we're coming up on our 100th anniversary in 2024. So in the past 96 years with last year's campaign, we have reached the $850 million mark of dollars raised in our 6-county region. So the United Way is not just Tulsa, it's Tulsa, Creek, Rogers, Osage, Okmulgee, and Wagner. So we serve all those counties and participate in campaigns and work on having funding for the residents of those counties. And again, have been able to raise $850 million. we do this as in all our programs with volunteers. We have annual campaign chairs, which you're going to meet here quickly in a great video. This year is Commissioner Karen Keith and Tim Lyons, who's the president and CEO of Tulsa Teachers Credit Union, TTCU Federal Credit Union. And then we couldn't obviously do it. The United Way is different from a lot of agencies and a lot of things in that we fundraise through employee workplaces. And that's really probably where your first interaction was with us. You got a pledge card, you had a fundraiser at work, and you saw the United Way through that. So that's really where we get the majority of our dollars. There's 830 companies, organizations, and foundations that participate. They run an employee workplace campaign, give a corporate donation, and really work with us through the fall mainly, but any time of the year to ask their employees to donate. And how we do that with those volunteers, they have team chairs. So we have 4 teams by industry and geographic region. And then we get volunteers, about 40 volunteers to work there. So our staff is 32 total. There are 13 in the resource development area and 4 account managers. So as you can imagine, we couldn't do it without these volunteers. And really the key to the volunteer structure are those employee campaign coordinators, those 1,675 people at those 830 companies that work with their employees directly to plan the fun events, to plan the campaign timing, to do all those things that hopefully you've been involved in at your companies. Those campaign coordinators are really the part of that. And you're going to hear from one of those shortly after our video where you meet the dynamic duo. So let's meet the 2021 campaign chairs, Tim Lyons and Commissioner Karen Keith. Such a great video. They are so great to work with, have really stepped up and are doing company visits, campaign agency visits. And so they're going to be a great team and we're excited about that. And one of those great companies, TTCU, that Tim comes from, has a great campaign coordinator, and she's agreed to share her experience. So I'd like to introduce Monica Johnson, who's the Communications and Experience Manager for TTCU Federal Credit Union. Monica?
Yes, thank you, Cynthia. I'm really glad to be here with you all today to share what it's like to be a workplace campaign ECC. My name is Monica Johnson, and serving as an employee campaign coordinator truly is a joy. Each year I get to help champion United Way at my workplace, TTCU. And throughout the year, we share updates internally about the incredible work that Tulsa Area United Way and the 59 partner agencies are doing for the community. It's really important to us that our employees see their pledge and know how it's making a difference in the community. And we also want them to know about the resources that are available to their family, neighbors, and network when needed too. Then as we prepare for our annual campaign, we normally do that in the summer or the fall via a 1-week-long United Way campaign. And our goal is always to increase our giving over the previous year. And with the dynamic duo and our connection to Tim this year, we're really hoping to exceed that even more this year. Our workplace campaign always brings back some employee traditions, some that we've been doing here at TTCU for many years. I hear as early as the 80s, we've been doing some of these traditions. And this, of course, includes pledge cards and some special pledge incentives, since that's such a critical part of our campaign. We also have company-wide costume contests. We have raffles, email bingo, food trucks at our corporate office, and we try to bring in some new fundraisers each year as well. Last year, we introduced a candle fundraiser, and it was actually so easy and very successful with a local company called Secret Garden. So it's just a blast to think up new ideas with our company to create those fundraisers. And for me, my favorite part of being an employee campaign coordinator is just the powerful view that we get to see of what we're able to do together. And I just feel really proud each year as we get to announce that goal that we've exceeded together. I also really appreciate all of the resources that the Tulsa Area United Way staff provide to me as an ECC, whether it's the campaign toolkits and all the digital resources that are available. We also receive such instant support from our campaign managers and the staff at Tulsa Area United Way. So it's easier than ever to run a fun and meaningful campaign. And Cynthia, I really appreciate the opportunity to share today.
Thank you, Monica. We appreciate what you do. And now that I know you have costume contest, that might come back with Tim, and we can use that in that sometime throughout the campaign. So we appreciate all that you do. Again, 830 workplaces do this across the city and our service area. And there are 1,600 Monicas, although I would argue that Monica and her team ran a great model campaign, and we so appreciate that. All right, so I also, another thing that we do, and I would be remiss if we didn't do, is ask you to help. So how can you help in the campaign? First, of course, we appreciate your participation, your volunteerism, all those things that you do. But something we've been trying to do over the past couple of years is really expand our reach and what we call the culture of new campaigns. So we believe that people haven't given because they've not been asked. And if we could tell the United Way story, that we would have further reach. So like to introduce Chase Mowry, who is a senior campaign account manager here at the Tulsa Area United Way and is in charge of our culture of new campaigns, to talk to you about future partners. Chase?
Thank you, Cynthia. And I think I can appropriately say good afternoon to everybody on the call as we are past noon. What you see in front of you here is a list of a number of different organizations that are not currently running United Way campaigns with us. And kind of tell you a little background on, Cynthia mentioned our culture of new campaigns, tell you a little bit of background as to why we think that this is a valuable use of anybody's time. Brent had mentioned that the Tulsa Area United Way is a community organization. And as an individual sitting on this call right now, we consider you part of our team here. So what we do with our future partners, these are all leads. Over the past 2 years, we've been able to secure roughly 110 new campaigns, and every single one of those new campaigns came from a warm lead from a volunteer or an interested community member like yourself, or an individual on our staff, or one of our volunteers on our cabinet. What we do with that lead is we take that conversation, usually come back to you as an individual. If you do have a lead at one of these companies, talk through a little bit about what you know, and we promise you that we will take care of the relationship. You're not going to lose any friends by potentially sending a lead over to the Tulsa Area United Way. We'll take care of them and just have a nice conversation about what the Tulsa Area United Way does and educate these individuals and these companies on the United Way. If you have a company that you don't see on this list, as there's thousands of companies in the Tulsa Area United Way, we do have an avenue for you to put in what we call an ALFI, and that is another lead for you. Just gives us an avenue to be able to have a conversation with you as a community member and an invested partner with the Tulsa Area United Way, so that we can follow up and see if we can't secure more of these new businesses in order to grow our campaign to ensure that we are building the social safety net for our community. And I'll put that link of the ALFI, again, another lead for you, into the chat here so you can see that. If there's a company that you're interested in, They might already be running a campaign. That's perfectly fine. We'll know right away, but we'll be sure to get back to you if you do decide to put in a lead for us through our prospecting database. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chase. Appreciate that. All right. It is time for that pop quiz that I mentioned. So pop quiz, if you will put in the chat, first person to put in the chat is what is 830? So what does the number 830 represent? And we have a United Way tote bag for those that put that in the chat. So again, thank you so much. And Lexi, back to you.
Thank you, Brent and Cynthia, both for sharing with us the heart and the muscle of Tulsa Area United Way. While you guys are all digging in your brain, trying to figure out what that 830 represents to our campaign, we're going to go into a quick break. We know that all of you are probably on Zoom all day, staring at screens, so we're going to take just a 4 or 5 minute break. And during the break, we're going to highlight one of our amazing partner agencies. So if you want to, stick around for that and keep your eyes glued to the screen, you're welcome to. But if you need to get up, walk around, refresh your water or coffee, you are also welcome to do so.
The Tulsa Area United Way depends on your generosity as a community united in hope to raise millions of dollars every year, helping thousands of people in need. Hi, I'm Allison Anthony, President and CEO of Tulsa Area United Way. Last year, more than 1,000 companies and 30,000 plus donors helped us raise $26 million for our community. These dollars directly support 59 partner nonprofits in Tulsa, Creek, Okmulgee, Osage, Rogers, and Wagner County. Last year, someone reached out to one of our partners more than 500,000 times throughout the year. I invite you to see how your donations are making a difference.
Hi, my name's Diana Emerson, and I work with TSHA, a nonprofit organization that serves deaf and hard of hearing people of all ages and all amounts of hearing loss. Deaf and hard of hearing individuals often tend to withdraw from society and to stay home more and more, but we realize that there's so much quality of life that can be improved, whether it's your grandmother who's developing more and more hearing loss, or if it's your new baby that you've discovered is profoundly deaf. We just know that there's a wonderful, rich quality of life out there if you know what the resources are that exist.
When Jennifer was a baby, I did notice some things with her, like she wouldn't calm to my voice. I would have to go into the room with her and where she could see me. I think I only really remember crying twice. Once was at the testing and the other was when we went to get the results. You have such hopes and dreams for your child, and at that point I just did not know. I think it's the unknown that scares us. How will she communicate? Will she go to school? Will she get a driver's license? Will she work, marry, have a family, be independent? I just didn't know. And I didn't know where I would get information or who to even ask for information. The state provided a deaf woman to come to my house, and she would work with us on how to work with Jennifer, how to do things visually, and a few very basic signs. But she referred me to TSHA. She actually mentioned that there was a deaf children's holiday party. I saw kids running and playing and doing activities. I saw a signing Santa and a signing Mrs. Claus and signing elves and people having fun. And I think for the first time I thought, you know what? Maybe this is going to be okay.
The moment I realized that I could communicate with my mother, I felt like I was just like the other kids. Being able to have that communication, I was just like the other kids. I would sign I love you and she would sign I love you back, and that was the first conversation I had with my mom was I love you. I'm really grateful for her time learning sign language so I have a normal life as much as I can. I'm really grateful for her.
Those questions I had in that dark room, all the answers were yes. So Jennifer communicates through American Sign Language. She graduated high school. She's going to college. She married. She has children. She works a full-time job. And so all those worries I had in that dark room, we've overcome. And I think no small part with the help of TSHA.
Some of you may have recently experienced some social isolation due to COVID-19, feeling cut off from the people, the activities that you enjoy. You've just had a tiny taste of what deaf and hard of hearing people face every single day of their lives. At TSHA, our goal since 1953 has been to bridge the gaps that hearing loss creates. If we can help you or someone you know, please call us at 918-832-TSHA or check us out online at tsha.cc. Take care.
So I've seen that video probably 5 or 6 times or so, and I'm not gonna lie, I get a little glassy-eyed still every single time. Such a heartwarming story. So welcome back from break. Hope you were able to take care of yourself during those 4 or 5 minutes or so. I'm Lexi Bolus. I'm the volunteer coordinator at Tulsa Area United Way, and I am going to speak to one of the biggest events that United Way does every year, and that is our Day of Caring. We can go to the next slide. So we are actually in the 30th year of having an annual Day of Caring, which means 30 years of amazing community impact projects that brings together teams of volunteers at corporate partners and matches them with partner agencies and other nonprofits in the 6-county service area to do hands-on projects that make an immediate impact in our community. Typically in a Day of Caring, we have over 5,000 volunteers completing about 450 projects. Last year, as with everything else, that looked quite different. We knew that we couldn't responsibly put 5,000 people out into the community on a single day in the middle of a pandemic. So as with many other things, both here at United Way and all over the world, we adapted and we had to change the way that we were going to serve our community. And so we expanded to 3 different days of caring throughout the fall season to really address the most pressing needs in our community during the pandemic. And so our first day of caring was a community-wide food drive where we collected over 5,000 pounds of food, and that went to several of our partner agencies directly and also to the Community Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma, which we consider to be a very good friend agency to us. And we also hosted a regional blood drive where we collected 155 pints of blood, which gave life-saving support to about 400 people in the area, which was just amazing. Our other 2 days of caring also addressed pressing needs in our community, and all when it was all said and done, we still had about 2,000 volunteers completing 125 projects in the middle of a pandemic. So it was just absolutely heartwarming to see the spirit of giving and collaboration that took place during that really difficult time. And because we had such an amazing response from moving to this multiple days of caring model, we decided to go bigger and better in 2021. So we have several days of caring throughout the whole year. This year, our first one has already taken place back in March, and that was specifically to support our Greenwood and North Tulsa communities. We had about 800 volunteers helping out with in-person, virtual, remote projects, and made such a wonderful impact on that day to both our partner agencies that serve those neighborhoods and also to the Greenwood Business District downtown. On June 25th, we are having our second annual community-wide food drive, and we'll see if we are going to top that 50,000 number from last year. And of course, we can never totally abandon our traditional fall day of caring. So that'll be in October, and we're really looking forward to hosting that and seeing how many folks will get involved during that. So back to that March Day of Caring, we had so many amazing projects going on, and I actually, we're gonna hear from one of our Day of Caring coordinators, Julius at Matrix Service Company, who partnered up with Global Gardens for this March Day of Caring, and he's going to share a little bit about that experience. So I'm gonna turn things over to you, Julius.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I am Julius Hughes. I'm the IT director at Matrix Service Company. Matrix Service Company is a longtime supporter of Tulsa Area United Way. And in particular, the Day of Caring event is something that we always are excited to participate in. I am a native North Tulsan, so when I learned more about the modifications that were being made to the program to break it up into quarters and also focus on supporting local Black-owned businesses, as well as projects in the Greenwood District and North Tulsa in general, was something I was very much so excited about. So at Matrix, our volunteers began to assemble teams so that we can support both of those components of the March 27th Day of Caring. And we actually put together a team of about 5 or 6 people, including our Chief Executive Officer, John Hewitt. And we traveled around to about 10 local Black-owned businesses in Tulsa and had a film crew. And we sat and talked to a lot of the business owners and even some of the customers. And we produced a video that we could share with our employees to help educate them about local Black-owned businesses in the Tulsa area. And shared that video and got a lot of good feedback from our employees that went out and shopped and learned more about those businesses. We also accepted a project with Global Gardens to build a 30 by 30 foot outdoor pergola, which will serve as an outdoor classroom at the Unity Learning Academy in North Tulsa. The kids at this school will be able to learn more about gardening. And our project team, like I said, was just really excited to participate and help build this. So this has actually turned into a couple of days of learning for us. It's taken a little bit longer than we had anticipated, but our project teams are excited to see it through. So I hope this helps you learn a little bit more about the Tulsa Area United Way Day of Caring event. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Julius. What an amazing couple of ways that Matrix is getting involved in our community, and what incredible opportunities. Thank you so much. I am now going to turn things over to Heidi Braver, and she's going to share with us information about our 3 affinity groups. Heidi?
Thank you, Lexi, and thanks so much for hanging in there with us today. We have just a couple of sections and areas of ways that you can get involved with United Way that we want to make sure that we share with you today. As the Director of Volunteer Experience, I get to work with Lexi and all of the great work she does with those quarterly days of caring and other volunteer opportunities. But I also oversee our 3 affinity groups. So those are groups that are for individuals at your organizations to get more deeply involved with the Tulsa Area United Way and our partner agencies. So I'm going to talk a little bit about all three of those groups. And I do have some volunteers that are here to share with us today. So to start, I'm going to introduce Stephanie Grober with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma. And Stephanie was our 2020 chair of Women United. And we were so fortunate that she was able to stick around for 2021 and help us climb out of the pandemic and continue the program opportunities for our members. So I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie, and she's going to talk to you about Women United.
All right. Well, thank you, Heidi. And again, thanks for kind of the do-over year. I think we can all agree that 2020 didn't happen exactly like we thought it would. And we had a lot of great programming planned for Women United. And we had to pivot like everybody else did to really kind of focus in on the most pressing needs. And we focused a lot in on supporting the campaign. And it's great to see the success that United Way had in 2020. But I'm also excited about getting back to that programming that's pretty typical for Women United and all the opportunities that come with that. I have been involved with United Way for over 20 years, and it's interesting hearing from all the previous speakers and all the different opportunities. I have ran a campaign for our company. I've had the opportunity to sit on the cabinet. I participate in the investment panels. And so I love the fact that there's so many different ways to engage with United Way. And one that I want to talk about today is through the affinity group with Women United. And as you can see on the screen here, when we look at the mission for Women United, when I think about it, it's really about connecting women and developing leaders and really understanding the most pressing needs in our community. And really, how do we bring those together and, bring our time, our talent, and our financial resources to help support those most pressing needs in our community. If we'll move to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about the different member levels that exist. But, for me, when I think about being part of Women United, I love the fact that I have a resource of women that I can tap into really at any point in time that helps support and push me personally and professionally. And just that opportunity to get to network with such a diverse group of women, also women that have a lot of the same things that you are passionate about, making a positive change in your community, and really lifting up other women, and the opportunity to participate in programs that help with your leadership skills, or whether or not that's maybe even participating on one of our committees, and really having that opportunity to learn around, all of the great work that the 59 agencies do for United Way and how to get involved. And so the different membership levels that we have are shown here on this slide. And to become a member, you have to donate at a minimum of $250. And that can be through your employer-sponsored campaign or individually. And with that level of donation, you have that opportunity from a networking perspective to get engaged. Many other things that come with that. We have a personal professional development event that is coming up next week, and this is available to all of our members. And just that opportunity, I think, to have access to business leader, partner agency executives, and nonprofits to understand, again, all of the great work that's happening in our community and how to get more involved and how to make a positive impact. We also have a leader level membership, and that's for donations over $600. And you get all of the great benefits that I talked about as being a leader, but then also if you are a leader level donor, we have an event called Connecting Beyond the Circles, and I'll talk a little bit about that event that's coming up as well this year. And then we also have our patron level donors at 1,000 plus, and we have a benefit that comes with that that's probably one of my favorite things to attend, and that is a Connecting Circle event. And it's a very small, kind of intimate event, typically in someone's home, with no more than 10 to 15 women, and just getting the opportunity to engage in some really meaningful conversations, what's happening at that point in time. We've already had one of our events for Connecting Circle this year. We had that in March. It had to be virtual. I'm still so excited about getting back to in-person events, but we had Peggy Simmons, who is the CEO of PSO, discussing how empowering women in leadership. So just some great opportunities to engage and really kind of in those small venues at that patron level. membership level. So if you move to the next slide, it just highlights some of the events that we have coming up. As I mentioned, we have our personal professional development event coming up next week, May 13th. I think we already have probably 150, I think, members that have joined and will be part of that event for us. As I said, it's going to be virtual, but I think we've gotten pretty good, as all of us have, on, you know, holding these virtual events, but giving that opportunity also for engagement. So while we'll have 9 different speakers talking on topics around leadership, empowerment, acceptance, and diversity, we have that opportunity to do breakout sessions. And so you get that opportunity to network and kind of discuss those topics and those learnings. So, but again, I'm really anxious and excited about getting back into those in-person events. And so I am excited to mention that on June 3rd, we're having our second Connecting Circle event, and it will be in person. It will be held outside, so we'll be making sure that we meet all the safety guidelines that come with that. But we're going to have Dr. Lee Goodson, who is CEO of Tulsa Community College. So we have a couple other virtual events in June, and then on August 10th, we have our Connecting Beyond the Circle event on criminal justice reform, and a lot of other great events planned throughout the year that we don't have listed on here. We worked really hard to get a schedule for the full year and get our events planned. And we were very strategic about moving our networking event that's available to all of our members to, I think it's early fall, I think late September, in hopes that we'll also have that opportunity to be able to get together face to face and start networking. And I think we have some.
I think we just experienced our first tech. Nope, Stephanie, you're back.
Oh, I'm here?
Nope. You froze up on us for a minute, but I think you're okay. I was going to take over, but I'm going to let you wrap up.
Okay, so I don't know where I cut out, but I was just kind of finishing up talking about the great events and the networking event that we also have coming up this fall that hopefully will be in person. So just a great opportunity to engage, like I said, with United Way and network with some amazing women. And if you have any questions about becoming a member, you can certainly reach out to myself or Heidi, and just look forward to seeing a lot of faces face to face here soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. So with the lead event next week, Stephanie, as she mentioned, we do have a few spots available still, so we will max out at 150 members, and we're close. If you're interested in attending and haven't received an invitation, if you think you're a member, not a member, want to become a member, any of the above, please contact me and we can see what we can do to get you in for next Thursday. So from Women United, we're going to shift now to our second affinity group, which is Retire United, and it's actually our newest affinity group. So we just launched Retire United in the fall of 2019, and we did our absolute best to get off the ground in 2020, had some virtual events, and then we'll be moving into what we can do in person this year and really putting all of that programming together. But really the idea is that, you know, retirees have so much to offer this community, have so much that they can give back and want to give back. And we want them to stay connected to the Tulsa Area United Way and to the community as they enter retirement. So that's really the reasoning behind Retire United, our newest affinity group. So next slide, please. So again, retirees, but also people that are soon to retire. So if you're within a couple of years of retirement and want to start thinking about that and how you're going to get involved and what you're going to now have the time to do to give back, or just are looking for some assistance in thinking through that change of life coming towards you in retirement. So that's really what the focus is. So again, monthly agency tours, we're not doing them quite monthly in 2021. We hope to be able to shift them back to in-person and to offer them more often. But partner agency tours are a great way to learn about the community. The resilience screenings, if you haven't seen the documentary Resilience, we offer that on a quarterly basis. With Retire United, we also have a quarterly coffee social. We're getting ready to make the decision of if we want to have our next one in June in person or virtual. And then we'll offer a retirement readiness seminar. So that's when we talk about those that are getting ready to retire. offering programming around not only the financial aspects of retirement, which is what I think we all focus on, but the non-financial aspects too. Are you ready to, not get up and go to work every day? I know that to me sounds like a dream, but apparently as you get closer to retirement, work replacement becomes a real thing, and wondering how you're going to fill your time and your sense of purpose when you're not getting up and going to work on a regular basis. And then an education panel as well, a topic for retirees or pre-retirees specifically that we'll offer on an annual basis. Next slide. So I'm not going to go through all of the specific upcoming events here. What I'm going to do instead is introduce to you Janice Farr. She's retired from Tulsa Community College, and she is a member of our steering committee. She was actually a member of Women United and real active there until we launched Retire United, and she decided she wanted to get involved here. So I'm going to stop talking here for a minute and invite Janice to jump on here and just give you guys a little bit of an overview of why she got involved and what value she sees in Retire United. Janice?
Thank you, Heidi. Our values say a lot about us. And one of the values of Tulsa Area United Way is that we live united by advocating respect to create inclusive communities. And all of us, of course, need to feel that we belong, that we are included in the life of the community, and that we're respected as human beings. But sometimes that becomes more difficult as we grow older and we retire. Well, thanks to United Way, I've enjoyed my 4 years of retirement tremendously. And I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to stay connected to the community through the Broken Arrow Senior Center, which is a United Way agency, through the Retire United Steering Committee, and through the places that I volunteer. Being engaged with a diverse community and learning about them and their lives is interesting and rewarding and fun. And it gives me a chance to contribute the skills that I've developed over a lifetime in my interest to others to make our community stronger. The friendships that I make and their inclusion of me in their lives enhances my own life. There's a lot of good things to be said about retirement, but a lot of people don't know how to take advantage of those opportunities. Those retirees who are eager to stay engaged and to make the most of retirement are the very ones that we're looking for. Sometimes it's difficult to find retirees, though, once they've left their jobs. And we need to make contact with them and find more who would be interested in learning about all of the opportunities that we have and all of the education that's so wonderful. So if all of you know some retirees in your families or your friends or your work associates that are about to retire, I hope that you'll keep us in mind and refer them to Heidi and to United Way so that we can include them in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janice. So great things to come with Retire United, as you heard from Janice. So if you have more questions or want to know how to get involved or become a member, again, please reach out to me. And last but certainly not least, the Emerging Leaders Society. So this is the third affinity group for young professionals. And the mission is really to cultivate the next generation of leaders and philanthropists in our community. And we do that primarily through networking and professional development, as it says there, and volunteerism opportunities. But really the cornerstone of the program is mentoring. So what can we do to connect today's leaders with tomorrow's leaders and have that opportunity for learning that frankly, as we're learning, goes both ways, not just from the mentors to the mentees, but also from the mentees back to the mentors. And so we do a variety of mentoring, whether it's one-on-one or in larger group settings. But again, it's access to community leaders to learn about what is working for leadership and to help young professionals advance and grow in their careers, and as well as their personal philanthropy. So next slide. Similar to the Women United, we do have different levels of women or of Emerging Leaders Society. So the Perryman level, the Gilcrease, the Skelly, and the Phillips. So you see those levels there and their benefits. So really with networking and professional development, monthly agency tours, volunteer opportunities at that Gilcrease level, we'll add an educational type keynote address. So about 50 attendees or so to hear on a topic of note in the community. At that Skelly level, you also have access to a roundtable. So again, a small intimate conversation with less than 20 members and a community leader. And finally, at the top level of Emerging Leaders Society, you have the opportunity to be mentored one-on-one by a member of the Alexis de Tocqueville Society, which is our most distinguished group of donors at Tulsa Area United Way that contribute at least $10,000 a year to the organization. And you have the opportunity to learn from them. Next slide, please. Again, rather than talking and reading again to you the screen there to show you about the upcoming events, I'm going to invite Matt McCoy, who's a steering committee member of Emerging Leaders Society. He's been involved for, I believe, 2 to 3 years now, but I'm going to invite him to join us and talk to you about his experience and why he thinks you should get involved in Emerging Leaders Society. Matt?
Hey, good afternoon, Heidi. It's a pleasure to get a chance to address the audience and the team about what it is to be an emerging leader and what that means. And so through ELS, I've learned that philanthropy is really a journey, and it's really great to be on this walk with others who are emerging into this sort of area of life. Through the agency tours, it helps us connect with the different agencies that United Way supports and helps us to really understand and to cultivate relationships. I know it led me to become a board member and volunteer with Youth at Heart, one of our partner agencies, and it has really kind of cultivated this kind of sense of what it means to be philanthropic. Mentoring is really one of those key aspects of ELS. It's really a part of how we cultivate that broad understanding of what the United Way does for the Tulsa area, and really does enrich and really bring those topics together. So really have enjoyed my time with United Way and really have enjoyed my time with ELS and would definitely continue to recruit others to do that, especially through the mentorship and networking opportunities that exist. Being last, I'll keep it short and sweet because I know that there's a little bit more to do till we get to the end. So again, thank you for the ability to speak and promote Emerging Leaders Society today. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you sharing there. The one thing that we didn't talk about is that logo that you see on the screen or the graphic there about Time for a Cause. So I'm going to talk about that briefly, but before I do that, because this is our last section here, and I know it's been a long ride. We appreciate you hanging in here with us. If you do have any questions, please type them in the chat pod and I can address those as we sign off. I'm going to give you a minute or so to think of questions. And I don't know whether we still have a winner of our question or pop quiz about what does the number 830 mean. So if you haven't yet typed that in the chat pod, you have a minute there. Time for a Cause was an event with Emerging Leaders Society that took place during National Volunteer Week, and it was really designed to be ELS's networking and recruiting event. And it was supposed to be in person in 2020, and obviously that didn't happen. So we did it. So we did it virtually this year with an online auction. So we had online auction items, and it took place during National Volunteer Week. The items were either donated by partner agencies, things like Girl Scout cookies or a 1-month pass to YWCA fitness facilities, or back to mentoring with ELS experiences with mentors. So whether it was a wine tasting with Stephen Marlowe Bradshaw or a private tour of the Philbrook Museum, with Frauke Peterson, or a year of mentoring with Mark Graham. So a lot of different items. The difference in the auction here was that our members and people across the community voted or bid with their volunteer hours to Tulsa Area United Way partner agencies, not with their dollars. So no dollars were exchanged, but lots of volunteerism. So after that first week, in our first event, we had 17 auction items that generated 332 volunteer hours for 12 different United Way partner agencies. So it was a big success. We loved it. And we can't wait to see how we can grow that moving into the future. So with that, I'm going to take a look at the chat pod. And the 830, so that was a number that was mentioned throughout Cynthia's presentation and resource development. She mentioned the number 830. If anybody can jump into the chat or Q&A and tell us what that number means, then we have a prize for you. And I don't think I see any other questions. So I'm gonna just take a minute here to say again, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Hopefully you did grab your lunch and you're not starving, and hopefully we are getting you done here a few minutes early. So if you have a 1 o'clock meeting, you have a time to get up and stretch your legs and do what you need to do. So thank you again for joining us today. If we can be of assistance in any way, you've got some of our email addresses throughout the presentation. I think a lot of you know how to find us. And then you also see how to get connected with us on the screen there. So Ben, it sounds like you are our winner. So I'm glad that you hung in there with us to the end. We will be in touch with you to make sure that we get your prize to you. But with that, I want to take any more of your time except to say again, thank you so much for joining us, and have a fabulous Mother's Day weekend. Bye-bye.